Fisk is a feature. Alright. Alright, Of the Devil demo. Episode 1 came out actually in the middle of February. Which is interesting, and episode 2 is already, like, listed out to be available soon, but they don't have a specific release date. But I thought we would just play the demo, because the demo has been out for a year, and it was free, and it'll give me an idea of if we vibe with it. I like the art style. Looking at the screenshots, it looks really cool. So.
Well, I might have some time tomorrow, so if we like it, we could do it again.
Yee. Hello! Cybernetic Susurrus. Yeah, it did. I noted that it dropped in February, so I was like, oh, well, let's try the demo out, and if we like it, we like it, and you may see more of this. But for now, it's just the demo. Episode 0.
What's going on?
Ooh. I fear for this lag, but it's a visual novel, so it should be fine. Are you gonna be the main character, as you usually are oft?
I mean, you read that.
Okay. Rain sizzles off neon above me. The summer shower creates a noted uptick in the flickering of holograms down the street. And a slight blunting of the night's ambience. Emphasis on slight. Lights, cameras, and constant noise. The city's got insomnia, with the uneven heart rate to prove it. I may do something to make chat text appear instantly, depending on how it functions. So we're not dealing with text lag. There's no escaping the secondhand nervous energy of it all, but I'm pretty acclimated. Just a wave of worries cresting on the surface while I hold my breath deep below. Besides, a microdose of nightlife anxiety suits my mood just fine. Because if I'm not careful, this client of mine's gonna die in jail. Morgan. Criminal attorney.
Criminal attorney.
Okay. It's hard to get away with murder these days. People are still presumed innocent, at least on paper. But by the time they're in cuffs, there's hardly any shadows of doubt left. Oh my god, there's a cough. It's fighting. Give me a second.
It's been a second. Why aren't you ready yet?
Yay! Post-COVID cough, everybody. Because this whole world's lit up, mapped out, never unknown and always online. Whether it's incandescent or neon or hollow. Whether it's LCD, LED, or just the nearest phone screen. There's light shining on every last pixel of the map. And someone's always watching. Solitude's a rarity. Anonymity is scarce. And criminal defense attorneys aren't exactly flush with customers. So you take whatever clients you can get. You don't balk at public defender work, no matter the hour. And should you find yourself in one of the last dark, quiet corners left in the whole world, well, smoke 'em if you got 'em. Not that there's much else I can do until my phone. Counselor, your public defender contract has been approved. Currently texting with state system. You're expected at the 254th precinct. Present your ID at the door to enter. Arrive at least 15 minutes early. I'll try! Looks like the paperwork came through. It's nearly 3:15 now. 90 minutes since I took the job. Probably makes it about 2 hours since they finally got smart enough to ask for a lawyer. If they're really smart, they'll have used that time to get some rest. Because now that I'm here, things are going to get busy. Oh, and he shall appear. It's a text.
Here.
Huh?
What?
I'm not gonna disable the tutorials. I don't know how to play the game, so. Man, this encoding overloaded thing. Oh, okay, I can do the settings right now. Instant. It is unfortunate. There. Precinct 254. It's a goddamn ghost town. Oh dang. Instant is fast. It does eliminate the lag when it appears instantly. It was nothing but a hologram for a welcoming party. I'm here about a homicide. High clearance rates be damned. You'd think they'd treat it with a little more gravitas. But whatever. If I'm that unimportant, they've got no right to complain if I take my sweet time getting checked in. And I should take my time. Information's like cash in my line of work. You gotta spend it to make it. And if you're flat broke, no one will give a shit what you have to say. So let's see if I can't poke around and shake some change loose. Very, I almost want to say Danganronpa-esque, but yeah, I may turn it down a little bit more, see if that helps. It is Discord that's being mean, that's causing it to be like this, but high traffic hallways, utilitarian furnishing, multiple screening stations, pragmatic brutalism, so textbook, it could teach freshman level architecture. You can almost hear the building drone on and on about concrete and iron and hard right ankles. The civil planning equivalents of battle scars. From a fight won so long ago that they're starting to look ridiculous. I'm sure it was all very imposing back when it was built. But walking in here now with crime rates where they are, feels like a hospice ward for heavy-handedness. Yeah, let me mess with it some more. Low. Maybe lowest? It's a little better. A data pad. I'll bite. Even when they're more advertisement than article, they can still be informative. In a flowery, roundabout, corporate propaganda sort of way. Subway fixes. Oh, read this. Fisk. Oh no,
It's Discord. I can't read. Discord's not picking me up. I can't read at all because I was just reading all of it. And I was speaking at the same volume I am now, so.
I mean, I've
said some stuff that you've not reacted to. That I'm like, I must not be getting picked up.
I might
Subway fixes act. City to refocus on canopy. Declaring the subway tunnels to be irreparably flooded, city engineers announced this week that all plans to drain and repair the system were being suspended indefinitely. Saltwater, damage to sensitive electronic cabling, and erosion of key tunnel fixtures were cited as reasons for why 89% of the subway system was evaluated as critically compromised, or worse. Civil engineering efforts will be refocused on maintenance and expansion of the hybrid super infrastructure system that weaves together trams, highways, walkways, and skyscrapers into the canopy high above our cities. Oh my god. Reactions to the announcement could be characterized as blasé. It's been years since the subways last ran, and decades since they last ran on schedule. Most citizens have long since given up on hope on them ever making a comeback. Online chatter barely reacted to the announcement, with most comments and voters' attention focused instead on the growing investigations into Councilman Long's finance irregularities. As one of the canopy's major backers in City Hall, Long has often found himself at odds with a small but vocal group of critics that consider it to be an eyesore, an amplifier of light and noise pollution. And Long, having stepped away from his political duties in order to more fully cooperate with investigators, for the first time in nearly 20 years, the typically rock-steady political foundation of Canopy was looking uncharacteristically shaky going into this week. But with the subways now officially no longer an option, people and corporations alike have little choice for how they complete their morning commute. However, not all reactions to the news have been negative. At least a few bold individuals see the latest report as vindication and possibly even a rallying. Already considered by many to be the rising star in infrastructure solutions abroad, tech startup Subterra made headlines last year with their radical proposal for a system of personal submarine taxi pods that could make use of the flooded subway tunnels. But momentum stalled when their first prototype for this city came in at a disappointing 3,359% over budget. The one council member was quoted calling their system mind-bogglingly wasteful and impractical to the extreme. In light of this latest announcement, Subterra has proudly declared their intent to resubmit their proposal package. Across the entire globe, coastal cities like ours have struggled to find civil engineering answers to rising sea levels and subterranean flooding that satisfy financial, practical, and aesthetical concerns. Historically, most scientists have attributed this increase in sea level to climate change, though there are dissenting voices. Water rises and falls all the time for reasons we do not fully understand. Are we to... It appears that you have 0 free articles remaining this month. Please verify your account information in order to continue reading stories that matter.
Subterra definitely not taking a pot shot at any real-world tech company and CEO. Smile! What? No. Ballsy of them putting the paywall there. As if I'd reach for my wallet after having to read a word like aesthetical. Besides, I got the gist of it. The takeaways that the city will be focusing its efforts on. Canopy. There will be increased scrutiny surrounding the canopy now that there's no plan B. It's a massive project with a massive budget. Lines the pockets of a lot of people, big and small. None of them would appreciate bad press at the moment. Not when Councilman Long's already thoroughly chummed the waters. Clumbed the waters? Okay, we've taken another sacrifice. I've closed VTube Studio, so you get my PNG. Should be fine. I mean, half of why I made it was to try to bypass when encoding overloaded happens. Just another instance of it here. Oh. I don't know if you want to read what data pads are.
No. There's too many. That was too much reading.
Consider disabling your subroutine so we can serve you a more tailored browsing experience. No. Reading list. Subways abandoned. Is there not... Whatever. Oh, it's gone now. Let's observe this. An actual police lineup. It's like I walked into a museum. Though museums tend to feel expensive and clean. Dusty, forgotten, probably lots of unpacked boxes. This homicide department's more like an attic. Hard to believe they were ever so busy that they had witnesses making IDs in the lobby. Then again, it's hard to believe they were ever doing lineups in the first place. Are you certain? Wasn't it dark? Did you know that during traumatic events, memory formation is blah blah blah? Poking holes in that setup must have been like shooting fish in a barrel, and all during billable hours. But there's no room to sew out anymore. Not when a modded witness can just submit their testimony as a video recording. Assuming their phone didn't automatically file a police report for them. Dang. Alright. The medium's cracked in the corner. Looks bad, but my phone's made of the same stuff, and I'm rolling the dice every time it falls off the sofa. Could probably null the warranty on one of these things with a loud sneeze. At least it's not broken. Entirely. Even at this hour, it's still dutifully scrolling through its notifications. Looks like the usual 1-to-1 ratio of public health alerts and inoffensive pop culture trivia you always get served at state buildings. But there's a few missing persons, too. 1 year of the Silver Plan coverage, courtesy of Caduceus, as a reward for any... Silver's no joke. Family must be getting desperate. Alright, I've taken in all the scenery and learned as much as I can here. Time to get checked in. You gonna read the hologram?
Yeah, I will.
It booted up fine. So far, so good. I like her outfit, by the way. Not the holograms. Morgan, here for the public defender contract.
Could you please provide your name and... Great! Please stand still for a moment.
I wouldn't call intake hollows charming. More like harmless. But that's probably what the designers are aiming for. People don't mind a quirk or two in their tech so long as it never speaks out of turn.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble placing you. Could you please provide your name and date of birth?
You're making this hologram sound surprisingly condescending. So far, so good, was it? Scan my card. Say, why don't you just scan my ID card?
Hey! Now, could you just confirm your date of birth for me?
Why do they even bother asking? My birthday's on the damn ID card. And my profile. I have to be a world-class airhead to get this question wrong. No problem, my birthday is... Hold on. December 26th. Likes puzzles, smoking, and wooden furniture. Dislikes commercials, hairdressers, and jogging. Talent! Can fall asleep in any position. Prefers decaf coffee. Favorite drink seems to be whiskey sour. I guess preferred drink, not really favorite. December 26th. Oh, she kinda tall.
Why don't... Tell us your weight! Tell us your weight!
Oh, conductive resin. Okay. What was it again? December 26th. December 26th.
Perfect! Good morning! Why'd you skip?
I'm sorry.
Thank you for your timely arrival and for taking on this public defender contract. If you're ready to speak to your client, you can proceed to counseling quarter 3C.
Is that what we're calling it now? You mean the interrogation room?
I'm sorry to have caused any confusion. My vocabulary is updated to better reflect state standards.
Don't sweat it. I can't keep track of every new euphemism either. They could call it the involuntary wellness check room if they like. Doesn't change the way it makes a person feel, sitting in a stifled box of one-way panels. Nothing to see but their own reflection, dully warped across gunmetal walls.
Morgan, counselor, can I help you with anything else?
Ooh. What are you? I guess I could ask that, but I want to start with why the disrepair. I know the city's not terribly concerned with the lower wards, but this is a police station. Why is it so goddamn dusty?
The facility is currently undergoing renovations.
Since when? The 60s?
It has been 22 months since the timetable was last updated.
They really don't see a lot of action around here, do they?
I'm sorry for any inconvenience you might have encountered.
I'm adaptable. What about you? They ever gonna fix that crack?
Thank you for asking. It has not interfered with my work.
Well, that's all that matters, right? What are you?
I'm a smart user interface, proudly sold by Noble Electronics. Thank you for asking. If you're interested, I could send you a link with information about our subscription packages. Should I send you a link with information about our subscription packages?
No. Sorry. That was a mean question to ask. That'll be
Question
all.
mark?
Thank you. Hmm? Pigeon confusion noise.
You'll find counseling quarters past our homicide detective's office. Through the door to your right.
Thanks. But I think it's just me for now, so you could go on break if you like.
Automated dependents do not take breaks, Morgan Counselor.
Then what were you doing before I walked in?
You'll find the counseling quarters past our homicide detective's office.
Through the door to the right. Thank you. Ads don't get breaks, and they don't get my jokes. But it's usually the humorless types that are the most fun to mess with anyway.
Eyes gone bad or something.
A voice. No, voice is coming from down the hall.
Bad yours? Probably.
Thank God I stopped for directions. A building this empty, the desk could have just told me to follow the echoes. One voice sounds older, rougher, and decidedly low energy.
Appreciate you worrying about me. Forbid I try to be serious.
Please don't actually make him that voice. While the other rings with youthful indignation.
It's not like our job is important or anything.
Definitely cops. And at this precinct, at this hour, they might be the only two living, breathing people in the whole complex.
Cause why else would you bother to print all that out? One document or 100 looks the same on a data pad. Anytime you question a suspect, you need to have a heavy file in hand.
Ah, yes, intimidation tactics. It is a little hard to be like, we've got so much information on you when you're holding a thin little iPad.
Makes them think you know them better than the priest, the mother, their big brother. I wasn't gonna say that. So how many of those sheets were blank then?
No red carpet tonight, officers? Oh, the younger one is I assume the younger one is the one on the right.
Well, I'm not gonna change their voices.
Good cop question.
Oh, sorry about that, ma'am. We don't keep many extra hands around these hours. Probably faster to let the desk handle intake anyway. But mostly cheaper. You the lawyer?
I am! Thanks for asking, Morgan.
They both look like scumbags.
Astute observation, Fisk. Morgan.
You're welcome.
Esquire, pleased to meet you.
Oh god. Qasim? Qasim?
Qasim. I believe it's Qasim.
Qasim London. Please never make me say my name ever again.
Oh, but what if I... Oh, what if I... I'm gonna not look at automated dependent. London! He hates pollen. Frequently running late.
And the ball sunshine here is my partner, Farah Reyes.
Let's look at her profile. She likes limes. And hates liars. And small plates. Bad at games of chance.
Ball of sunshine?
She certainly is.
Huh? Sorry if you were kept waiting. Chatter between the departments has been hectic all night.
It's no trouble. Gave me time to enjoy my cigarette.
Cigarette? Like tobacco?
You could call me Dr. Cigarette.
Shut up. What are you? 80?
She can't be more than a few years younger than me.
The detective's in charge of this particular case.
Your voice changed. You said you wouldn't change it.
I was possessed.
Oh, yes, I see. Carry on.
And it looks like tonight we're also your humble guides to the illustrious homicide department. Apologies in advance for any cobwebs.
Pretty sure I've seen this London character around the courthouse before. He never struck me as more than just some old-timer. But I suppose being an old-timer is an accomplishment in and of itself in his profession. Sunshine is definitely a new face, though. Rigid in her posture and her attitude. 3 in the morning and her shirt still looks ironed. Freshly promoted, maybe. 2 whole detectives working at these hours? Sounds serious. Unless you were just the first to arrive on the scene.
No, we're not nearly that timely. Uniforms responded to the emergency calls within a few minutes.
Calls, plural. Must have been quite the commotion.
Look around. You think we're the first to arrive for anything? She's not wrong! We were only tapped at the circumstances at the scene indicating involvement with an ongoing investigation!
You sound excited about that.
Our ongoing investigation!
You sound significantly less excited. Not very subtle, is she? But I may as well bite at this point. So you suspect that this client of mine is involved in some separate criminal activity?
Wait, did they really not?
No.
No, I guess they wouldn't put it in a public defender's briefing. Look, consider this a little professional courtesy. A fair warning, yeah? That's the heartbreak killer in that room. And we've got the bastard dead to rights. So if you're kind, you'll help him plead it out. And if you're smart, you'll pass the shitstorm on to some other night owl and go back to bed.
I'm not feeling particularly kind or smart at the moment. I like money. So perhaps in the meantime, you'd be so polite as to fill me in about this heartbreak
she's
killer.
a public defender, so she wouldn't be getting that much money anyway.
Well, she'll take what she can get, am I right?
They cover utilities at the rock you live under?
Is there a problem?
You're seriously not familiar with HK?
Hello, just unknown. Never heard of him. I've heard enough of him for a lifetime. Their name has been plastered all over the city for weeks. Their crimes wavering between breaking news and urban legend. Their presumed goals flip-flopping from unadulterated anarchy to unappreciated vigilantism. At street corners, in the media, on the net. Everyone's indulging in the exact kind of armchair detective speculation that I can't stand. But right now I need to figure out exactly how much the police do or don't know. And when it comes to cops, I always get better results playing dumb than I do acting smart. I take it he's a repeat offender.
Was it the killer part that tipped you off? You must have... You must have at least heard about his MO! Emilio's gone crazy with it!
Project X Zone 2 mentioned. I'm glad you're enjoying the game. I'm assuming the game's been fun for you, aside from the obscure Yakuza reference. Fisk is proficient in Project X Zone 1 and 2. Proficient as in they've played
not
it.
Not really of 2 so much. I didn't actually finish.
I know you liked the main characters for 1 a lot better.
Yeah, I don't like Shawu that much, which is probably an unpopular opinion, but I like her. I don't like her. I know she's in Project X Zone 1, but she wasn't as focused.
Alas.
I've read this already.
I know. Thanatos got mentioned.
You must have been listening to some videos gone crazy with it! Alright! Along with everyone else. One bullet straight through the heart. Body left to lie where it falls.
I guess I get where he gets his name then. Hence the name Heartbreak. Not really creative, but amidst the swirl of every other 100-word article out there, catchiness trumps originality.
What you won't read about online is that all 6 of HK victims were shot by the same gun.
Nice, unknown.
Without even needing to reload.
How do you know that it hasn't been reloaded? How would you how would you know that? Horrible to say, I know, but 6 for 6? That's pretty good shooting, isn't it?
Hitting the bullseye at the shooting range is good shooting. Doing it 6 times in a row is great. But shooting 6 people with accuracy like that, it's a whole different beast.
You're making him sound way older than he looks, which is really funny.
Takes a certain kind of monster. Ah! A real freak.
Did a cat jump scare you?
No, I lost my stitch marker.
No! Yeah.
I need that.
If Fisk hesitates a little between reading, it's because they're currently crocheting.
Which manliest hobby?
Yeah, which wooble are you making?
Making a $10 kit I bought at a craft store. Now that I know how to crochet, because I bought one of those wooble kits.
They're very cute.
I read that. Takes a certain kind of monster, a real freak.
Do you want to mention how much money you plan to spend on woobles?
No, I'm not gonna mention that. Don't even. His pulse probably didn't even ride.
I see. Sounds robotic.
Sounds your mom.
You almost make him sound like a machine. Is it possible that...
No, it's not. There's no such thing as killer robots, madam.
Of course. My mistake. So all those androids marching in the military, those robots patrolling in police uniforms, those drones dropping firebombs from the sky. I guess they're all firing blanks! Oh, damn!
You should be glad I'm not voicing the main character.
Yeah. I like giving her the cool voice, which is kind of a little jarring compared to the voices you've given the characters so far, but I think it's fine. Fair enough. Fair enough. Just a tiny fair enough in the back. Okay, I'll listen to some Final Boss themes from Yakuza. Fisk has a bunch of the games.
Fair enough.
And
they have been protected. What they don't commit murder.
The cutting out. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's just it's like he's mumble talking to us. Right.
Evil like heartbreak is all organic.
That's a pretty terrifying thought. I should really start paying
Your
more
mom's
attention
a
to
pretty
those.
terrifying.
Wow. Oh my, how dare you? How I managed to miss 6 murders.
Well, you can only blame yourself for missing 5.
Pardon?
You're still not getting it? HK6 victim was found a few hours ago. When we caught the son of a bitch red-handed.
So you're convinced that my client is this heartbreak killer and tonight was just his latest crime. That's a serious accusation, with very serious consequences. I take it you have serious evidence to back that up. I like the word serious, have you noticed?
You're seriously pissing me off.
Haha!
I'm being literal, counselor. Red-handed when we found him. He was covered in blood.
Well.
Her blood, rather. Excuse me. I was crocheting, so I wasn't really paying attention.
Well, that's not good, is it? They're both crocheting in front of her as we speak. What you say certainly sounds compelling.
Is that lawyer talk for open and shut?
But even if that's the case, how does one crime scene make him look good for 6 murders?
It's all there in the discovery files. And the arcs, of course. Join the local net on your phone and we'll turn over everything you need.
I'll bet. Thanks for that, detective. I'll be sure to read it over. But if it's all the same...
no problem.
Could I ask you some questions while I've got you here?
Who the hell? I almost did his. What kind of attorney wants to interrogate detectives?
It's spreading. This kind of attorney. You're just that pleasant.
Come on, sunshine. Not like we're gonna be punching out anytime soon, right?
I'll punch you out.
Whatever, let your clients do an interrogation all night, for all I care.
Intera, you mean the counseling quarters.
Sorry, I was counting. We're at your disposal, counselor.
I was counting. Unspecified counting. Well, ARCS, Augmented Reality Crime Scene, is an investigative tool in which data harvested by the sensors worn on first responders is used to reconstruct a digital copy of the preceding crime scene. Oh, ads are starting in about 4 minutes. Programmed and distributed
Your
by
mom's starting in about 4 minutes.
Used by every major police force, most insurance investigators, and many law firms. After its introduction in the early 2060s, the technology briefly came under public scrutiny when the independent news organization United Media Casters released a series of reports claiming that ARC's data was regularly edited by corrupt officials to erase state secrets. These reports were later found to be fake, and UMC was exposed as a subsidiary of a cell corporation within Lambda Work Solutions, who were marketing a number of alternatives to ARC's technology at the time. Board members at Lambda denounced the actions of said cell and offered assistance to their former competitors in suing leadership at UMC, but the proceedings and settlements in those lawsuits remain sealed. Also, the reason why I wiggle back and forth is because I usually hover the mouse underneath the lines so I don't lose my place, but it makes the screen wiggle. So I just imagine Morgan on her phone reading, like, in a little shimmy. Instead of just darting her eyes across the lines. That is a lot of songs. Profiles, heartbreak. Unknown, unknown, unknown. Occupation, criminal. I don't think that's an occupation. Likes, killing. Dislikes, getting caught. Favorite color, probably red. Zodiac sign, probably not into astrology. Reward, suspended due to influx of false reports. I have no evidence.
That's cringe.
Barren, stark, and uninviting. This must be Reyes' desk. Keep your workstation neat and tidy is admirable, but I can't spot a single mote of personalization. Is she so new she hasn't had time to unpack? Or is she really that uptight and boring? Both, maybe.
You're talking to me, bitch.
Oh, latest Noble androids received warm welcome. Bolstered by a strong earnings report and surging sales of the Anima 16, Noble Electronics' stock rose a stunning 3% this week to a new record high. While Noble's latest iteration has yet to surpass the sheer popularity of its predecessors, an increased profit margin has left Noble's shareholders very enthused. Many investigators were skeptical when, at their now infamous 2084 trade convention, Noble announced that the 16th line would be the first generation of androids to feature over 50% organic components. That's disturbing. So-called warm androids, which at the time only saw demand in the health, senior, and childcare sectors, were looked down upon as impractical due to increased maintenance costs, cuts, scratches, bruises, and the like. And while some critics voiced concerns that fringe religious or traditionalist groups might find warm androids controversial, more business-focused minds feared that Noble was alienating its customers in the industrial and military sectors in order to cater to civilian consumers. Users that viewed their androids from across the room and not from above the factory floor. However, as has often been the case in the last decade, Noble's doubters were proven wrong. The Anima 16 is poised to break profitability records, with no signs of slowing down, and many industry analysts predict that these once rare organic androids will completely replace their more robotic predecessors in daily life within the next 3 to 5 years. As described in the earnings report, much of the 16th line's success, and indeed the success of Noble's androids in general, can be attributed to the remarkable lifelike personable charm of their products, and by all accounts, that charm can be attributed to the work of Noble's famed lead programmer, Dr. David Asher. Lead programmer is the understatement of the century, said Noble brand ambassador Lucy Dees on stage at their latest Noble Industry Weekend. It's because of this Turing solution that every Noble product, from the sleekest assistants to the most advanced intensive care technicians, are so beloved and trusted by our customers. While his reputation was on full display at the event, Dr. Asher himself was nowhere to be seen. He's always been reclusive, but he's become a genuine hermit in recent years. Are we really to believe he's still— Hey fam, looks like you're not logged in onto this device. Want to put in your account info so we can keep you reading? He's in the news again. It's no wonder. Can't sit without it landing on a piece of Noble tech these days. Especially not where the state's involved. Don't know if they'll bite when it comes to warm androids, though. For government use, they're just too frail, I think. All androids undergo wear and tear, especially if they're directing traffic or suppressing crowds. So if these warm androids bleed pink all over themselves every time they take a rock to the cheek, it's just an endless stream of bad photo ops waiting to happen. You shouldn't have cleaned up so much just for little old me, Detective London. Someone really needs to introduce this guy to a filing system. Or even just a stapler. Paper documents scattered about lazily, alongside actual photographs. Either he's really old-fashioned or really paranoid about data leaks. And he doesn't look like the paranoid type. Well, orderliness aside, some things are better in paper, I'll give him that. Oh, there goes the ads. Let me look at my phone. It's so bizarre. I guess save again, why not? Oh! There is a backlog. I don't know how to access it quickly. I guess I'm not actually talking to them? Whatever. Whoa. What is the shop for? Wait. Is that what these are for? Hold on. No. Store credit is not. It's Morgan time. Okay. I like Morgan time charm, yeah. Okay, whatever store credit is, I guess we'll figure it out eventually. I'm not sure what the chips are used for. I'm out of tea. It's so sad.
Ew.
You know, that joke's based on Morbin time, but it just makes you think of Power Rangers. Yeah. I do have robin eggs. I might... I've got like a minute, like 40 seconds left. I'll grab my robin eggs. The problem is it'll get in the way of me reading, so maybe not.
Just read with your mouth full.
Yeah, that'll go over well. Incredibly professional here. Sounds like a great idea. Well, I'll at least eat one, and hopefully it'll be done in 15 seconds. Unlikely, but... Because I eat them like a weirdo. Welcome back, ad watchers. Yoni Young Bosch, the voice of Yunara Kami, was in Power Rangers? Oh, I did not know that. Or perhaps I may have known that, in the sense that I may have watched whatever Power Rangers he was a part of, but I did not perceive it. My awareness lacked the knowledge of the existence of Young Bosch. Loose wires, missing panels, an aircon system that probably sweats more than the people it's supposed to cool. No room in the budget for making the office not look like shit, huh? I expected to find a lot of belt tightening at Homicide, but I didn't think their operation would be this bare bones. They've got a stunning clearance rate, and they work fast. Guess the city sees that and just assumes their job is easy. Maybe their job is easy, what with our dear, doting surveillance state eliminating so much of the footwork. But if your wheels don't squeak, you don't get your palms greased. So Homicide ends up as the only state department with a shrinking budget. A dumping grounds for the police force's most unambitious and least popular. Okay, nothing else jumps out at me around here. I've got a better idea of who I'm dealing with at least. Now I need to check out the crime scene data. I should have been sent a link. KL433511. Reply C to confirm. Confirm. You need to reply C in order to confirm. Am I talking to a person? I'm an automated dependent. Ads are usually more polite. Our personalities are tailored to suit our users' preferences. So the state likes you to be a little authoritarian. You need to reply C. C. It's case sensitive. C. Thank you. Link. Alright, if I project from my phone...
Show me your mom's.
Here's your IP address. Alright.
That's not a body. Simple. Crime didn't happen. Well,
I've figured it out. There was no crime. Alright, let's see what the police have and what they think is important. Stand-up mirror shattered and knocked over. Real glass. No screens or cameras here. It was hit hard. Hard enough to come unattached from its arm while shards of glass were scattered. Far enough to land on the victim's body. What a mess. Gun! A murder weapon. The murder weapon. A revolver found right next to the body. 6 empty casings found in each of the 6 chambers, meaning the gun's been fired 6 times. Still don't know how they would know that it's not ever been reloaded. If all the victims were killed at different times, you could just...
Well, I guess they assume that because it hasn't been... There's no other bullets in the gun, so it hasn't... We know that it's not fully loaded.
I played a really unfortunate game of Russian roulette. Looks like the crime scene techs practically disassembled the damn thing. But all they found were fingerprints belonging to my client. So he was found by the police with the murder weapon right in front of the body. I don't even know where to start. Highly prejudicial would be an understatement. The ceiling! No, seems like this vase got tossed aside at some point. And yet there's not a scratch on it. Must be pretty damn durable. Isn't art supposed to be delicate? Maybe it's making a statement. What that is over there? What is that over there? How do I go over there? How do I... Oh, wait. I have to look at this. The victim's body. Cause of death, ballistic trauma, class 4 blood loss, atrium and aorta. Single gunshot wound to the heart, in brief. Death was instantaneous. No injuries anywhere else and no blood or skin under her nails. But then why is the mirror broken? And why is the sturdy and not fragile statement art knocked over? Blood splatter, forensics, and all the other good stuff tells them that she was shot from there. So the killer was standing in the doorway when they fired. And that's all the big ticket items. What about the security? Looks like the apartment was unlocked all night. It's not uncommon for people their age in a neighborhood like this. But no signs of forced entry only hurts my client's case. What about the rest of the room? There's not much else flagged here. Just a lounger chair that got thrown and whatever that is. Unidentified ceramic debris? Flag is irrelevant? That's their technical assessment? Guess even the crime scene techs weren't sure what to make of it. Okay. That's everything that the police highlighted. But did I miss anything? The debris. Right? The hell is that? Something in the victim's hand? How the hell did... It's just a pill organizer. Looks like some immune adjusters. I don't know how to pronounce... NSAIDs and... Traprexazone. A synthetic glutacort... Oh my god. Synthetic glucocorticoid medication. Taken daily to reduce rejection symptoms like phantom pain and generalized itch. The autopsy said her talk screen was...
generalized itch.
Hey now. The autopsy said her talk screen was clear, but it's not like it matters. She could have swallowed every medicine cabinet in the city and still wouldn't even change the cause of death. It's odd, but ultimately irrelevant. Everything else here is all very incriminating, but the kicker is everything that's not here. No out-of-place DNA, footprints, crumbs, nothing that points towards anyone except my client. Well, I've done more with less than before, but not much more.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know if they're gonna say this, but...
But?
I lost my train of thought as I was crocheting. It seems clean. Like, not lived in.
Oh, yeah. Like, the broken mirror, the thrown chair. Like, if somebody shot from the doorway, why the fuck is everything knocked over? I'm really gonna have to sing for my supper this time. Better get Who the hell is messaging me at this time of night? First person who comes to mind is... Oh, my pizza! I suppose it could be something important. Brat! You wanna read Brat's texts?
Red.
What couldn't wait until morning?
Good news, of course. Got a job for you.
That's a pretty cheery way to tell me you violated parole.
Lord, not that kind of job. Besides, I've been covering my tracks.
Maybe you shouldn't tell.
This is something different.
You can't prove that I violated my parole. However, I am. I've admitted to you.
Kind of thing I can't handle with just a keyboard and a phishing scheme.
Oop. There was another message I double tapped for some reason. There was a lag.
I need you to sue my gym teacher.
Not that kind of lawyer, sorry.
Hey, at least let me finish!
What did they do?
Make me run laps!
Not illegal.
Let me finish! They made me run laps! Even though I said I had a stomach ache!
Said.
Gotta be like... youth endangerment. Depraved indifference or some kind of shit.
Sounds like you've already got a strong case. Try representing. Self-repressing? Oh no, don't do that. Try self-representing this time.
What's with the blow-off?
Nice phrasing!
Oh wow, I'm laughing so hard right now. See?
Is that your mugshot?
Wasn't gonna not get a copy of my mugshot. And use it as a reaction.
Glad you found a use case. But I'm working right now, so...
Anything cool?
Homicide.
Oh, cringe. Wait, what kind of homicide?
Dude.
Is it HBK?
Is that the kind of morbid thing kids your age talk about?
Teens my age. And yeah, we can read. Compared to the corrupt shit in the headlines. Old-fashioned murder is like old-fashioned murder like Hardy B is like quaint.
Quaint! 6 people are dead! It's not heartbreak.
Then why'd you take the job, lol? You see that 98% conviction rate as a challenge or something? You taking up lost cause, probe nose work?
It's pro bono.
That was autocorrect!
You know they give lit homework for a reason, right?
This is borderline concern nagging. Maybe you really are a bleeding heart.
Who is this person that Morgan knows?
Or just a sucker.
I'm not a sucker.
Nice phrasing, lol.
You should go to bed, Fran.
Tomorrow's Sunday. I can stay up if I want.
You're not my mom! Tomorrow is Sunday. Because today is Saturday.
What's with the carpe diem shit?
It's nearly 4 a.m., kid. You've got school in like 3 hours.
Shit!
Repeat offenders may be good for business, but that kid's bad for my blood pressure.
Important text message, I take it?
Very. Just your typical teenage drama. So then, if you wouldn't mind filling me in on a few details. Details. So how about the basics? What exactly has my client been charged with?
Your client, Carlos Backer Flat, was arrested on the scene at 9:50.
Using his middle name already. They really do think he's a serial killer.
The charge being the first-degree murder of his girlfriend, Miss Diane Don.
First degree? That's...
increasingly rare.
to say the least.
It's rare for us to get handed anything but crimes of passion around here. City's got damn near more cameras than people. So you gotta be really, really stupid to try to get away with murder.
Well, Heartbreak's gotten away with it 6 times. So what's that make him?
5 times. And that makes him insane. I was gonna go with extraordinary.
Let's split the difference and say he's extraordinarily insane. But nut jobs like that aren't renowned for their ability to think ahead. So what makes you think this was premeditated?
How about the fact that he stalked and killed 5 other women as a warm-up?
A warm-up.
5 previous bullets, 5 previous victims. None of them knew each other, lived near each other, worked in the same fields. Sorry about that. Weeks.
Why did you squeak like that, London?
Weeks of digital autopsies crawling up and down their online profiles. Nothing.
So, this serial killer chose his victims at random. If they have nothing in common.
Yeah, nothing in common at all.
Shh. I didn't finish my thought.
Other than that they all look like cousins. The physical similarities are striking. All 5 prior victims were young women with brown hair and eyes, about the same height, comparable weight.
Well, those features aren't exactly uncommon. Couldn't it be
a coincidence? If you really believe that, you should quit your job and start buying lotto tickets. HK's got himself a type. Anyone can see that. You really gonna try and tell me you don't see the resemblance?
a young woman? Brown hair, brown eyes. Can't tell how tall she is from a portrait, but I can take the hint. So you think what, exactly? That Carlos Flat wanted to kill his girlfriend so badly he went out and shot 5 other women first?
Hey, if the shoe fits!
If the shoe fits.
Then you put the shoe on the... What Shine means is that it's not uncommon for killers to displace their violence from people close to them onto outlets with fewer consequences. Drifters, loners, strangers, workers. He was probably building up the nerve for tonight by practicing on these other similar women. Or he's just so far gone that he can't tell the difference anymore.
It's not the worst theory in the world, but it doesn't fit. They want to claim that those previous victims were practice runs, dress rehearsals for tonight's main event. But if that were the case, there'd have been signs of hesitation, nerves. There'd have been mistakes. On top of which, guns are impersonal execution shots, even more so. I read that weirdly. There's no sadism or hatred or intimacy in a single bullet to the heart. Killing a girlfriend or her lookalikes usually is, if nothing else, a lot less sterile. If you ask me. Odd! Alright then! Timeline. I saw the time of death was 9 p.m. on the autopsy, but do you have a timeline for the rest of the night's events?
Damn straight we do, bitch!
Alright!
Can't trust much of what comes out of his mouth. But we managed thanks to less biased sources.
Like what, his neighbors?
And we're pretty confident about what we've been able to pierce together from their statements.
So they interviewed witnesses. Sounds eerily similar to real police work. I'm shaking.
The suspect and his girlfriend, I got distracted by my own fucking eye. We were arguing loudly with one another starting at around 8 p.m.
Holy shit, I have a hologram projecting eyeball! How did I forget?
Neighbors were very clear about that part. Couldn't wait to tell us all about the happy couple's domestic problems. Everyone in the building knew they'd been fighting for weeks.
As you probably gathered from what you saw in the arc, there was a struggle. Furniture turned over, glass shattered. But things go quiet sometime before 9 p.m. And then there's a gunshot.
Scrubbers are still scrubbing, looking for audio from the area to get a timestamp. But we heard enough. We heard from enough concerned citizens to be pretty damn sure about the time.
Right, emergency services got a burst of calls from the block shortly after 9 p.m.
Again, think that still doesn't line up. If that was their entire apartment, why was he in the doorway?
'Cause he's got the fucking ligma. I don't fucking...
You're a detective!
No one seemed to recognize the sound for what it was. But the silence... Sorry, I'm old. It was pretty universally alarming.
I mean, it's
No,
4 a.m.
I also am not capable of speaking.
Officers arrived on the street at 9:08, established a perimeter, enter through the open front door at 9:10 p.m., and then they find your client crouched over his dead girlfriend, his hand covered in her blood. At which point they moved to secure the scene and the suspect.
Sorry, did you say his hand singular?
Client's modded cybernetic right arm.
How modded are we talking about here?
Registered with a HAO 85 habilis, industrial grade looks like. Says he's spec for dexterous manipulation of up to class 4 KPA, which means a minimum grip strength of... Well, basically... he could crush your neck without even gritting his teeth.
Neat.
Considering a career change?
No. It's not that. It's just... your eye must be very sensitive for you to put the patch back on each time. And here I thought you just had a 14-year-old sense of fashion.
You think a cop would cover up her dominant eye because it was fashionable?
I actually thought the same thing the first time we met.
You what?
But getting back on track, that arm of his has been in the shop for some time now. He can't work without it. Money got tight.
The arguing?
Yeah.
When did he put his arm in for repairs?
8 days before HK's first victim was killed.
Okay, if the cybernetic arm is his dominant hand, absolutely fucking not that those first 5 were practice runs done perfectly. That doesn't make any sense. Right? Unless bro's ambitious.
I don't know.
But you're a detective!
Shut the fuck up, bitch. You have ligma.
You're so mean to me, London. Well, no chance they'll be willing to chalk that up to coincidence.
Your client was arrested on the scene after preliminary scan found his fingerprints on the revolver. And no one else's.
A revolver? What kind?
The old gun. The real old gun.
More specifically, a Calver M54, 6-chambered 10mm.
Calver? How? Retro.
You don't know the half of it. We're talking steel chamber Yeah! 24/7 location data, timestamp trigger pulls, safety scoded owners biometrics. For the past 3 decades, tags have made shooting crime severity.
It's 4 a.m. It's okay.
Unambiguous.
So you're claiming my client used some kind of antique to commit these crimes?
How else do you think he'd gotten away with it this 5 other times? If he tried to buy a gun legit, he'd probably fail the first psych check. And even jailbroken pieces are only good for so long before update withdrawal sets in.
So then, M54, that's...
Model year 2054.
a 30-year-old gun. Well, that sure complicates things, doesn't it?
In some way, sure. But pre-tagging firearms are rare. Gotta be less than 1,000 of them left in the whole country, and fewer still with compatible bullets.
The ammunition would have to be over 30 years old, too.
The novelty of his weapon has kept us in the dark so far. I run it!
I know, I'm thinking, like, okay. All the information that they've given, unless this thing is like a fucking family heirloom, that isn't cheap. And they've already talked about how he didn't have money because his arm had to go for repairs.
Now that we have our hands on it, it's gonna put him away for good.
The archive department complained loud as hell about how deep they had to dig. But with the protocols they found, the techs were able to match their rifling marks on all bullets to the gun your client was found with.
Rifling marks.
Bullets fired from guns that are old are marked by the barrel shape.
So if all 6 bullets had the same rifling marks...
We know that they were all fired by the same gun.
It's not as plug and play as tags are, but it's equally as precise science, I assure you. And if it's not damning enough, the spent casings from the other 5 shootings were still in the chamber.
Without even needing to reload. Okay, well that explains that.
The caliber your client was found with is the gun HK used to kill 6 women. No way to lawyer around that.
An untagged gun just being anywhere near a weapon like that could warrant your arrest. I read that weirdly again. Being found by the police over a dead body with an untagged gun used at 5 other crime scenes is just... To summarize then, you believe that my client fought verbally, then physically with his girlfriend, and then he retrieved this weapon and shot her.
Yeah, pretty much.
How did Lee look when the officers found him?
Guilty.
How was his effect?
Quiet. Detached. Stiff.
Not exactly the picture of a grieving partner.
That reaction may have lost him points with the cops, but beyond that, people react to loss in all kinds of unusual ways. And so long as the police are suspicious of you, there's no right way to grieve. To grieve? Checking my phone here, and I have to say, you've done a pretty admirable job keeping the details of HK's crimes a secret. The less reputable sites are doing some real journalistic acrobatics trying to piece together a story.
Yeah, top 11 theories on who hurt HK was a real weighty read.
It's not just journalists, though. All kinds have been emboldened. The freaks that managed to bring out of the HK's been managed to bring out of the woodworks in just a few weeks.
Can you blame them, though? I mean, he's a genuine serial killer. Repeat offenders in general are an endangered species, but he's gotten away with...
We know what he's gotten away with.
Take a look around us, Detective. National DNA registry's robust enough that cases never go cold. Cameras on every street, a phone on every citizen. Violent crime at an all-time low and clearance rates at all-time highs.
But you're gonna spout some bullshit about invasion of privacy?
No, I'm not. People are safer now than at any other time in history, detectives. So when someone like Heartbreak does come along... The good point didn't catch up, so you just laughed. London's trying to look like he can laugh it off. But pressure from the higher-ups must be reaching its peak. They want, maybe need, to see someone charged. And that makes them predictable.
Stop fucking doing that, bitch! I don't like it!
We're gonna find out that she's, No, she's probably human, but...
Probably. That's what they all say. Yeah, well, I kinda confused their voices, even if there's nothing standard about HK. Department SOP still dictates we starve the media for case details.
As you should.
That way, when we do feed them, they're grateful for whatever scraps they get.
And also so if the killer watches the news, he doesn't find out how much they know and changes details about how he handles things in order to make it harder.
But we can't take all the credit this... Homicide's tight-knit and tight-lipped, but... It's not like there's much information for us to leak in the first place.
And why is that?
Because none of the shootings were caught on the opt-in crime surveillance system.
The oiks. How is that even possible? I know that there are some rough areas in the lower wards, but Optics is watching every other street in the entire city. You're saying you haven't seen this killer on camera once?
You think we'd have let him kill 6 people if we did?
I understand your concern, ma'am, but optics is only what it says in the name. Private surveillance system signing up to feed into the state security net. It's not perfect, just another one of the many public safety tools in our belt.
It's not meant to be perfect. It's meant to help us solve crime. Or at least act as a deterrent.
One would hope so. That chance. Deterrents are for war rooms and board meetings. Anyone crazy or desperate enough to commit a crime in a city like this couldn't care less about anything as vague as the consequences of their actions.
It's like a safety blanket with one with very few holes left in it. But it does have holes. Patching up those remaining holes takes effort, and that effort usually means rebooting the system. There's all kinds of technical details and digital bureaucracy involved. But the end result is that there are occasional localized blackouts. And the math used to schedule them is not impossible to predict.
I see.
But those windows of opportunity are small and short. Taking advantage of them requires specific knowledge. You need to be involved in law enforcement, pub data, or city planning.
They'd have mentioned it if my client was a cop, and he wouldn't have needed a public defender either. His file says he's modded for heavy mass manipulation, not tech interfacing, so that just leaves city planning. So, does he work construction for the city?
Each case only ever struck at times and locations where optics would be down. Even with the devil's own luck, it can't be possible. It can't possibly be coincidence.
Wait, so you're saying when this woman was killed...
Yeah, there was a blackout from around 8 to 9 tonight. Right on schedule, so to speak. And it included the area surrounding the victim's apartment.
Well, what about DNA from the other crime scenes? Was my client a match?
Been no blood, no saliva, no suspect DNA at any of the crime scenes.
No footage, and no forensics?
Also no motive, tampering, or witnesses. It's been like hunting a damn ghost. We didn't even have a murder weapon.
Until now.
Finally, a lucky break for the boys in blue.
Scanners, cams, drones, forensics, no matter how you dress it up with tech, all detective work relies on one basic assumption. People make mistakes. But HK is the kind of monster who doesn't make mistakes. The only reason we even got him tonight was because he finished what he had set out to do all along.
So was my client on the list of suspects before tonight?
Weren't you listening? There was no list of suspects.
We questioned some X's, a few CIs, someone even spoke to one or two unlisted at some point. Nothing came of it. There was talk about starting on some kind of psych eval or something, but I never expected much to come of it. There's just not enough there to work with.
In other words, the only thing they have, the only thing they could have to link my client to those killings is the murder weapon. If I can jostle that keystone, then the rest of their case should start to come loose as well. Androids and cops. By the way, I couldn't help but notice that you're light on staff.
It's 3 in the morning. Were you expecting a parade?
Yes, I'm actually quite important. I thought there'd at least be a few androids around.
There aren't many androids in any police station this week, not while the brass is renegotiating contracts.
Contracts with Noble.
Good guess!
Hardly. They're the biggest...
Hardly. They're the biggest robotic scorper there is. Fuck. Could spend all day in city center without leaving their office's shadow.
Yes, we're very fortunate to have them headquartered here.
Saves us some money on shipping, at least. But these talks never last that long. I'm sure they'll be back to writing checks for Noble ads by the end of the month.
Even with Noble pushing those warm androids?
Warm. Yeah, might as well call it the adult line.
Might see them in the bigger departments or out on patrol, but not around these offices. Warm or cold, there's no such thing as an android detective. Yet.
Any day now! Yes, we should be expecting those any day now.
Maybe android lawyers, too.
Get some android politicians in and we'd have the full set.
Get real. People might like ads who do what they're told. But they despise ads who tell them what to do.
I'm not so sure. Cameras, sensors, satellites, we already get all of our facts from machines.
That's why I printed all this paper.
Give it a few more years and it might make sense to let machines do the investigating too.
The union would. The police union wouldn't let that happen.
She needn't have specified. It's the only real union there is anymore. Thanks for the chat, detectives. I think I understand the background well enough now. Candidly, I see the same strokes you do, and the picture it paints isn't pleasant. But even so, it seems a bit unrefined to be brought before a judge, don't you think?
Hey, it's only our job to catch the best. The DA is the one who gets the conviction. Besides, we're not exactly gonna have to work hard to convince anyone of his guilt.
And why is that?
Because you found a handwritten confession.
Well, that's unexpected. I'm sorry. You're now telling me that he wrote a confession? Has it been verified?
Not yet. We have to muscle past everyone in fraud and disinfo to get to the front of that line.
Why bother? The note's covered in his fingerprint.
There's a copy in the discovery data, but I should warn you. Doesn't exactly make for light reading!
I'll have to manage somehow. I need to see this confession for myself. Sorry for everything. Can't say it enough. Didn't mean to hurt you or do what I did. Did not want any of it to happen. Can't stay in control when I get mad. When I'm not in control, I hurt people without meaning to. I wish I hadn't broken them. Didn't mean to at first, but I was hurting. Wanted you to hurt too, but didn't want to hurt you. Words aren't enough. I know that now. I'll take responsibility and I do what I've been avoiding. Please forgive me. That was difficult to read. Barely legible, in fact.
Well, got a spin on that.
No need.
But it's a confession.
Not a confession that he signed, though, is it?
Not yet.
And not one he intends to sign anytime soon, considering that he asked for representation.
Yeah, the most wanted man in the city asked for a lawyer. It got you. Yes, you're both lucky.
Hardly. I just happened to be awake when the call went out. But I'm not so flush with work that I can afford to turn tail now. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go and speak with my client. What? He's not still handcuffed in there, is he?
Look, counselor, with all due respect, we have strong evidence pointing to the man being responsible for 6 murders. 2 hours or so in cuffs isn't cruel or unusual. And that's for your safety as well.
It's kind of you to worry, but I doubt I'll be in any danger.
He's killed 6 women.
None of them were redheads! Seriously, though, I'd like to speak with him alone now. Camera's off, if you don't mind.
Mic's on or off is your call, counselor. We'll be watching the feed from right outside in case anything happens. And the cuff, that is, stays on.
That worried about me. How chivalrous.
Yeah, my arm is practically blinding.
Gross, I'll start up the unlock cycle.
I'm blinded by the armor. Ah!
Counselor, just one last word of advice. If you have any interest in his well-being, I'd suggest you help him sign that confession.
Not a bad idea. I do get paid either way. But the defense part of defense attorney isn't just for show, detective.
I mean it. 6 people dead this month. But he's also caused weeks of widespread terror and public unrest.
But you know what would also be really funny? If a 7th person died right after he was executed or whatever the fuck they're going to do to him.
Putting it another way, he's made the state look bad. That's a capital crime if there ever was one. Even if the death penalty's not actually on the table these days, I can guarantee he's not gonna like whatever rehabilitation plan they draw up for him. Look, I've seen the virtual work release program in person and it's
being challenged before the Supreme Court.
yeah, sometime in the next decade, maybe. Just remember, a plea deal might feel like a loss for you, but if it keeps him from, well, that's probably a win for your client. Right?
You know what's also a win for my client? Not going to jail. Prison sentences are generally lighter for those who plead guilty, that much is true. It saves the courts a great deal of time and money, and they show their gratitude with reduced sentencing. But no one will ever be grateful towards the heartbreak killer. Anyone convicted for killing 6 people? They'll never rest their mind another day in their life. It's depressing as hell in here. They need to liven this place up. Carlos flat, right? Hope you don't mind if I get comfortable. I took my jacket off. We've got a lot to cover, but this shouldn't take all night.
What are you... Look, I already told you people, I didn't...
I'm not a cop, Carlos. Furthest thing from it. I'm a lawyer. You're a lawyer, in fact. And I'm here to help you.
Yeah, well... They said that too. All of them did. Back there, in here. Kept repeating it the whole ride over. They said that they were gonna help me, that they knew this was all a mistake. Then they said that I killed... Acting like they were on my side. They thought that I could have...
It's not their job to help you, Carlos. But it is mine, and I'm here now. He's still in shock. I need more information, but if I approach this the wrong way, he'll just clam up even more. I'm sure you're exhausted. It's probably difficult to think, let alone speak. But I'd like you to try and answer a few questions.
The police already...
Questioned you, I'm sure. But they were treating you as a suspect, not as a client.
Okay.
Okay. Let me look at my phone real quick. Oh my goodness, there's a lot. What is an IoT? Internet of Things. That's interesting. Digital autopsy. Grave cobbling. How to stop stolen identity. How to delete dead profile. Okay. Net scrubbing. Uh-huh. Mods. Body modifications. Huh. Okay. Calver. Yeah. Thortek. Being discontinued in 2071 Q3 for failing to increase in-game item sales. Okay. Heartbreak Killer. Very useful info. Optics. Basically surveillance. Virtual work release. Okay, fine. And my evidence. The note. Revolver. Suspect's prosthetic. Coat. Victim. Diane Dawn, 27-year-old agricultural genetics researcher from Perigee Laboratories. Found shot to the heart in the bedroom of the apartment she shares with prime suspect Carlos Flat. No known connection with previous HQ victims. ARCS data. The case's clasps are surprisingly difficult to open. Also, it's noted Tuesdays is open. I'm assuming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Ceramic debris. The autopsy report. The vase. Glass shards. And profiles. Flat. July 8th. He is very tall. His criminal record is civil disturbance twice. He was registered at birth. Pending everything else. Actually, let me save. Because I don't know if there's, like... anything, I don't know. Anyway. Flat.
So what do you want to know?
About you. Let's start simple. Something mundane, grounded, rote. I'd like to know a bit more about you first, Carlos. Something like... what line of work are you in?
I'm with city engineering. Where I was, or I should be.
As I thought, the police must be convinced he mapped the optics blackouts using data he stole from the work. Or from work.
My arm. I got it slotted for the job. And,
Carlos, I'm gonna need more than that. So what do I know? He works in city engineering, not a desk job. Rhea said he was modded for work, and that arm must be in custody at the moment, but based on his shoulder, it'd have to be pretty... utilitarian? Yeah, because that's... utilitarian, yeah. He doesn't strike me as the type who's enamored with the aesthetics of modding. The young and the restless and the rich swapping in neon and chrome limbs because they like the way it looks. Or the way it makes other people start looking at them. No, he's pragmatic, grounded, and very unlucky. In which case, I should be too. You know, my brother wanted to mod.
really?
Really. I don't even have a brother. He had everything planned out. A whole career path of promotions and bonuses and the upgrades they'd afford him. Then came his 18th birthday present. Test results politely informing him that he's not a viable candidate.
That sucks.
I think he felt relieved, actually. Seemed like it was a weight off his chest. Like he was glad that he didn't have to choose. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I think it does. I always figured I'd start at all. If I'd start at all, I'd start small. A hand or an eye. Test the waters. Never thought about lobbing my whole damn arm off, but the recruiter was enthusiastic. He said, Because of the NCDA, there's financial aid and resources. Of course, that got shit scanned, so now me and every other modder is royally screwed. Couldn't even let me keep the tax credit.
The New Citizens with Disabilities Act was amended, not repealed. But I doubt he'd appreciate the distinction at the moment.
Work the tighter spaces, high volt environments, mostly canopy upkeep. Typical stuff for modders, you know?
He's speaking freely now. Don't need to do much more than repeat his words back to him to keep talking. Keep him talking, but the right word choice here or there can still make a difference. You work on the canopy. You must be under a lot of pressure. You must be under a lot of pressure now that the subways are cordoned off.
Damn straight! And this crap with Long? Once word got out that the case against him was real, every desk job in the chain became terrified of their own shadow. All of them convinced that Eternal Affairs is gonna come knocking if they misplace so much as a paper. Everything by the book means no room for compromise, no room for problem solving.
No room for engineering.
Yeah. No patience for screw-ups.
He's trying very hard not to look at his shoulder. Why aren't you wearing your prosthetic right now, Carlos? Other than the fact that it could crush somebody's windpipe with no problem at all, and I'd assume if he had it, police would have taken it from him.
Yeah, that. Rejection issues starting last month. A lot of sleepless nights.
Rejection? Did the therapy not take?
It's not like that. I wasn't oozing pus out of my sockets or anything.
Excuse me for a moment, Carlos. An ad break started, so I'm gonna open my phone and read the entirety of mod therapy. I know you're talking to me right now, but I'm going to look at my phone. Process of adjusting the human mind and body for the unique challenges and stresses that come with cybernetic body modifications. Typically includes physical therapy, mental technique instruction, and sensitivity training. Depending on an individual's viability or lack thereof, medications and even minor viral tuning may be employed to modify the body's immune response. But improvements
I
made
wonder
in
if that was
recent
his
years...
medication.
Yeah! Improvements made in recent years in medically sterile alloys have greatly reduced the percentage of the patients that require such treatment. Yeah. Hold on. Hold on, where's my evidence? Yeah! Tripirexazone. Prescribed to reduce moderate to severe discomfort arising from mod sensitivity complications. But she had it in her hand. What is she?
Yeah.
And the case's clasps were surprisingly difficult to open. Was she opening his medication for him? Because if it's hard to open, he definitely couldn't do it with one arm.
Probably.
He was wearing a coat. I still don't know what the fuck the debris is. It says it's ceramic. And it says the vase didn't get broken when it tipped over. I'd assume a vase would be ceramic.
Maybe.
Say's the first name.
Huh?
Say his first name.
No,
Why not?
I don't want to.
Well, I suppose it doesn't matter. Ads are done! Welcome back, ad watchers. We are resuming the conversation. The only thing you missed was us making a connection that because the pills contained something for modding rejection issues, and it mentions that the clasps are hard to open, probably couldn't do it with one hand, so she was probably holding it with the intent of opening the medication for him. We think. Then, do these rejection issues have anything to do with your scars?
Not in the way you're thinking.
Hmm?
I'm right-handed.
So those cuts on his face are just from shaving? Yeah, no way. No way. Fucking perfect shot in the heart with your non-dominant hand when you cut yourself shaving in the bathroom mirror? Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh.
I always thought this would go on so long that I'd have to relearn how to do everything. I mean, problems started small, trembling, but then spasms. Just oversensitivity, they said. An easy fix.
But the problem got bigger.
Couldn't let it get that far. Be able to trust your own hands when you're on the job site. Drop a cutter at the wrong moment and people could get hurt. So I sat down, made an appointment, turned in my arm. Watched my case get placed at the back of the damn line.
Where did you turn it in?
Some mass turnaround chop shop with a waiting list like you wouldn't.
Doesn't sound like you're a happy customer.
Hell no, I've found a dozen other clinics with shorter wait time. But as long as I'm renting and not owning.
The manufacturer decides where your arm gets maintenance. Well, that's kind of shitty. 40 business days? Holy shit, bro!
That's why I'm sitting here with this expensive ass stump for a shoulder. I've been able to work in weeks. Bosses were generous enough to say my position might still be there when I got 2 working arms again.
But, yeah, you couldn't buy or rent a replacement yourself just in the meantime?
I serve at the pleasure of the state. I've got exclusivity contracts with Hindi, all locked up white knuckle tight.
Hindi? Oop. Where is it? The log. How Industries. As I recall, he's registered with one of their Habilis models. So, what was that information? Search terms. It's near the bottom now. How Industries is the world leader in the research, development, manufacturing, and fitting of cybernetic prosthetics for commercial and private use. And we're hiring. We're seeking motivated and passionate archivists, programmers, salespeople, and college graduates with degrees in digital archaeology, cybernetic anatomy, and more. Not interested in sponsored search results. See further with a premium account. Well, that's annoying.
I took one step on site with uninsured tech. Forget the fines, I'd lose the down payment and my arm. And I'd never work in this city again. This was last quarter, maybe I could have worked something out with management. Like I said, no one's sticking their neck out for anyone now that Long's in deep hot shit.
You mentioned discomfort. Are you in pain?
Pain will come and go. It's the itches that'll kill ya.
His favorite flower is poppy, and he dislikes cashews. His luck is poor. His student debt is sizable. He doesn't like musicals either. Ooh.
And the phantoms come back pretty fast when I don't have anything.
Yeah, phantom pain. Oof.
Arm shaped attached to me.
Didn't they give you something to, well, wear in the meantime? Something the clinics lend out for cases like this.
What they gave me is a deadweight, 3-jointed landfill bait piece of shit.
Ooh, were the ceramics the arm, maybe?
Maybe. Sorry, it's just... It's a very shitty feeling. Having a part of your body that you know they cut corners. It fits, it's compatible, technically. I can slot it in and feel on balance again. The fingers don't even bend, and the quick twitch motors are way off. It's like walking around with your arm asleep or dead.
So, were you wearing it when you were arrested? That's probably the safer answer. I don't want him to clam up on me. Were you wearing it when you were arrested?
No, I wasn't. But I'm pretty sure I saw the police bagging it as evidence, so...
Oh, interesting! They didn't give me that!
Can't have gotten too far.
How Industries Bronzier 2081 prosthetic. An affordable model. Okay, so it wasn't destroyed. So Detective Reyes was being quite literal about how he was found. He had the victim's blood on his left arm, only because at the time of the question, he didn't even have a right. No inconsistencies in the story so far, and he's opened up about as well as can be expected. But this has all just been a warm-up for the both of us. Now comes the delicate part. Carlos, you and the victim were romantically involved. How long did you two know each other?
Right. I'd known her since college. Shared a few classes, mutual friends. Always got along. Eventually we just got together at some point. Guess I never actually asked her out the real formal way. Sounds pretty cowardly saying that out loud.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It just sounds like the two of them just fell into a rhythm together. Even if there was never asking anyone out or specifically saying, hey, can we date? It just felt, just one of those things that happens. You don't realize it's happened until you look back on it and go, huh, yeah. I wouldn't say that was cowardly.
Diane, she was in genetics, focused on her studies in agriculture.
It always takes them a few tries to get used to using past tense.
Finished her postgrad work this year. Got hired right out of the gate. Easily headhunted. Can you believe that?
I'm gonna try something real quick. Because their movements, their character still movements are tied to how fast the text reveals. So if it goes too fast, sometimes you'll just get like a flash frame of a character.
Practically headhunted.
Okay, well, we'll test the speed, because I've already turned off VTube Studio. I could probably stand to have the text not be instantaneous anymore. It's still flat.
Of course she was. Any company would be lucky to have her, unlike... It was a real-ass job. Paid real-ass money, too.
So her career was starting to pan out. Right as yours had fallen into the mother of all slumps. Where was she hired?
Pedigree? No, Peregrine Laboratories. I'd say that like the name mattered. The whole setup's under Harco's umbrella.
That doesn't narrow it down. The Harvest Corporation grows 1/3 of the soybeans and corn in the entire corporation? The entire country. Jeez Louise. One client that size, the lab wouldn't need any others. Now, no corporation earns the mega prefix without a little throat cutting, but Harco is about the same as big business can get. Predictable, like the seasons. No one's gonna buy that they had some lab tech murdered because of corporate greed. Had she adjusted well to her new job?
Yeah, they loved having her there.
She never mentioned arguments or disputes, corporate politics getting rough.
I don't think so. No, not like I've been a good listener lately. But I never got the impression that she... Look, no one I know could do this to her. There's nothing she could have done that would deserve to happen to her.
It was a long shot, hoping for a disgruntled character from her past to shift blame onto. But with no other suspects, I can't just reshuffle the detective's suspicions. I'll have to disprove their argument entirely. Thank you, Carlos. That was very helpful.
It was?
Now I'd like you to try and tell me whatever you can about what happened tonight.
Oh.
Start at the beginning, and take your time. The details are important.
Alright, Miss,
Morgan.
I'll try, Morgan.
When you're ready.
We were arguing. We had been arguing a lot lately. Arguing about stupid stuff. I've been working, haven't been making money. Haven't been pulling my weight. I was mad at myself, but more than that, I was jealous of her. Jealous over nothing. Jealous over goddamn money.
The reports say you were arguing around 8 p.m.
8? Yeah, must have been when we started. Got into it and I said a lot of things that I shouldn't have. I said one thing I really, really shouldn't have. Crossed the line, and we both knew it, so I left.
You left?
Yeah. Walked out the front door. Some fresh air might cool off. We figure out what to say to make it up to her. Of course, the air wasn't fresh, just humid, like mud. While I was pissing away the time, Diane was...
Did you bring your phone with you, or any other electronics?
No. Kinda stormed off. Didn't even take my key fobs. Didn't even lock the door behind me.
With optics down, traffic and street-level cameras won't help him. That leaves... Did you go through a checkpoint or talk to anyone with modded eyes? Did you buy anything, cash or credit?
No. Not even a vending machine.
Not even a damn vending machine, huh? I may have met my match. How can anyone be this unlucky? That's quite unfortunate.
I wanted quiet at the time. Wanted to wallow in it, really. Sorry if I don't have all the details quite right. My head is... But if my exact route would help, the camp's probably...
How do we tell him?
What? What is it? Optics? Was what? Can that even happen?
And there's no other proof that you were out at the time Diane was killed. Meaning you've got no alibi.
This can't...
My mic is picking up me crunching with my mouth closed. Ah! Why do the robin eggs have to be so loud?
Listen, I didn't do this. I couldn't...
Carlos. I'm the one person you don't have to try and convince. After all, I'm your lawyer. So let's just get it all out there and see what we've got to work with.
Right.
Now, you said you left to clear your head. So what made you come back?
Came back because I heard a noise. A loud noise. I know what it was. But it was loud, and it scared me. It came from the direction of our apartment. I was walking back at first. At some point I must have started running. Because when I got back I was so out of breath. When I saw that the front door was open. Something dropped in my chest and my lungs wouldn't...
You live on the first floor, right?
Yeah. First floor apartment, street facing entrance. We were proud of that when we first moved in. Like it was some kind of big deal. From the hallway I saw her, but I didn't realize. Never thought that she was... Lights were off. The whole room was a mess. Thought we had been robbed, or she had fallen, or... broken glass, furniture knocked over. And she was... I called her name and she didn't move. Checked her pulse and she was so warm. Blood was warm. And I saw...
The gun.
Oh. It looked so heavy. But I thought it had to be fake because I didn't want it to be real.
Is that why you picked it up?
What? Pick it up? I didn't touch that thing. I didn't shoot her, damn it!
Doing what I do, you hear a lot of lies. White lies, blatant lies, hasty lies. Bad lies, especially. For me, it's always been easy to spot a lie, but it can be hard to know what to do about it. I have all the proof I need in my files, but he's nervous and defensive. And none of this works if he doesn't trust me.
I got no idea, bro. Good luck.
Because it's not registered to him. It's between these two.
Can you make a save?
I already did. It's a fact that your fingerprints are on that gun.
What? But I didn't do this. I wasn't thinking. I was just...
Carlos, all I'm saying is that you picked it up. That's all.
Would you believe me if I said I didn't realize it was a gun?
That explains how his prints got on the gun, but not in a way that would satisfy the police. Still, if all he did was hold the gun...
So stupid. I know what a gun looks like. But seeing it in my own home, right in front of...
You were in shock, Carlos. You still are.
Police came in sometime after that. I don't remember much of what they said. Things started moving fast. It seemed like the rest of my night went probably the way you'd expect.
Carlos, you admit to having a verbal argument with Diane, but you said you were surprised to see the room trashed when you got back. To clarify, you're saying that you two never had a physical fight.
Physical? We never fought. We never fought like that. Did the police say that we did?
They assumed as much. Which means they also assumed the room was disheveled well before the shooting occurred. Considering what Carlos has told me, what else did they assume?
What is it?
I'd like you to take a look at something for me. The crime scene.
Oh.
It's an AR module built from data taken as the police entered, so...
Right, it's just that.
It's just data, Carlos. No grisly details.
Okay. Let me see it.
Take your time.
Alright, I think I've got it.
And that's how the police found things. Now close your eyes and think back to how the room looked when you left. Try and focus on what's out of place.
Alright.
I'll take notes. You just say whatever comes to mind.
I don't remember exactly where it was. But well, the mirror was upright, of course. And that clock was still on the wall. The chair got knocked over at some point. And the bed got tossed and the cushions torn. The urn fell. Other than that... Oh, it's ashes!
Oh!
No, sorry. That's all that stands out to me.
I see. Like so. Wow, you are a terrible artist. What's wrong? Something out of place? Carlos, you need to trust your instinct. If anything seems off, don't be afraid to speak up. The sparkle in her eye! Oh no!
It's just, I guess I just assumed your notes would be making edits to the AR?
Well, I suppose that works too.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I just needed to look at the shitty drawing again.
Sorry, I didn't mean... I think your drawing was pretty good, considering.
I'd like to change the subject now, Carlos.
Right.
Let's talk about the letter that was found on your desk.
Letter? What do you mean?
I mean this letter here. Do you recognize it? Because the police are calling it a confession.
A confession? But this is just a note to self!
Pardon?
Look, when we fight, I lose my temper. Say things I don't mean to. This morning I tried writing things down so I'd have a script to stick to. So I could just apologize to her instead of just fighting with her.
Carlos, you say in the note that you hurt them.
That's I broke her fidget tubbies.
Her what? Her what?
Her fidget tubbies!
They're so cute! Those are What? Oh, the urn is what the big vase is, and that's why that didn't break. And the ceramic bits were the little... Oh!
They're these collectible ceramic character things. They're supposed to be like tactile. You use them as paperweights or conversation starters.
Conversation starters?
She loved those little things. They're not worth a damn. You can buy them at any flea market or garage, but it meant a lot to her. And I broke.
Ah, the replacement prosthetic arm. Evidently an acquired taste. No, they're so adorable. Look at them.
I mean, I was pissy at the time, but that goddamn piece of shit rental arm. I hardly know where I'm swinging it half the time. Got so angry I just ripped it off and tossed it in my room. That cheap, dusty, worthless...
Okay, let's say that he did break her frigiduckies with his replacement arm. Not what they're called. Okay. What does that change? Nothing at the moment. There's not enough detail in the note for me to prove what his intent was when he sat down to write it. But if the police insist on claiming it's confession for the Heartbreak killings anyway...
Couldn't even bother to sweep them up. I felt so...
Alright, Carlos. Thanks for answering my questions. Now I'm gonna call the police back in here, and I'm gonna get this cleared up for you.
What, that's it?
That's it!
Oh, okay.
Although, before I do that, I do have to ask. What do you know about the Heartbreak killer?
Heartbreak? You mean that psycho that was trending all month? I mean, as much as anyone, I guess? I haven't been getting out much, but... sure, everybody's on edge. Guy like that out there. He shoots people through the heart, right?
The police have kept the victim's appearances far away from any upstanding news sources. So unless he was already following the murders, Carlos wouldn't notice any resemblance to his girlfriend.
I mean, she was shot in the chest, but that's just... that doesn't mean anything, does it?
If he's this slow on the uptake, it's gonna be a real shock when those officers walk in here and accuse him of being a serial killer. Now I'll just have to squash that theory. As quickly and definitively as possible.
I didn't realize you could smoke in here.
Technically, I can smoke wherever I want. For a fee. Nine smoke. Oh my god!
I guess so.
I thought that freaky text is when she's being super negative, but I guess the for a fee would be a negative moment. Nervous? Don't be. I'm the one who's on the clock.
Sure, I'm sure this isn't your first time doing this.
No, of course not. It will be my first homicide defense, though.
Oh.
Why does everyone always think the first time's so goddamn important? Hey, cheer up! I've got relevant experience in other areas.
Oh. And, what areas are those?
You ever gamble, Carlos?
No, ma'am. I never go anywhere near loot boxes. Won't touch the stuff.
I meant more like playing cards.
Oh, well then, no to that too.
I've actually got pretty terrible luck.
Damn straight. Could have fooled me! Well, what I do is a lot like poker, Carlos. Poker's nice because even if you're dealt nothing with but crap all night long, you can still win. Which makes things pretty fun.
Okay, so do you have a good poker face?
I like to think so.
And are you lucky?
Only when the stakes are high.
In this metaphor, we're playing poker. The state's the dealer?
If only. No, the state's more like the house.
You mean like the house always wins?
Yes. They're very good at it. Winning, I mean. That's why they're up there, and we're down here. That's why they're the house.
What do we do?
We play the cards we're dealt as best we can. Win more hands than we lose. Keep it up, and eventually someone will come over and tap the dealer on the shoulder and whisper something in their ear. And then we'll be politely asked to leave.
That doesn't sound very triumphant.
The house always wins. So our definition of victory is more like, don't lose.
Thanks, Morgan. But I guess I was more asking, like, what should I say?
Just leave all the talking to me.
So that's the strategy. What's up?
You know, there's a saying about gamblers with strategies.
You ready to confess yet? Because I already woke up the DA.
Already. She must be new. The district attorneys have final say on whether or not a case is brought to trial. Only fair, since they're the ones who end up having to actually prove the damn thing. Most of them prefer simply guilty pleas over long, protracted trials. And they all dislike having their time wasted. Unfortunately, then, you'll have to call them back. Because my client is not guilty. And frankly, I'm not even sure you have enough to hold him here.
Right. What she said.
You've got a weird sense of humor, counselor. Different generations, I guess. Before my time kind of thing.
I'm very serious when it comes to defending a man's innocence, detective.
Counselor, we have your client's written confession.
His written confession. Let's start there.
Okay, well...
We'll be happy to.
The thrust of every argument starts with the facts, what's already known and agreed upon. Public knowledge for every player at the table.
It's pretty simple, counselor. Real paint by numbers stuff. See, we found a note at his apartment with his fingerprints on it, apologizing for how he hurt them all so bad. Now how are you planning on spinning that?
Those are the facts. But I've been building up my hand all night. And now I've got the weapons to answer anything they try and throw at me.
Well,
My client did write that note, and it was an apology. But not for murder. He was apologizing for... Oh, I have to drag it. He was simply apologizing for this.
the hell is that?
I found myself asking the exact same question.
What are we looking at here? Something from the crime scene?
This diagram of the room, it's created from data you captured, right?
Pure non-GMO augmented reality crime scene data, yeah?
Non-GMO genetically modified organism, augmented reality crime scene data. That's very contradictory, sir.
What's non-GMO?
Not much these days.
Notice anything out of place?
Yeah, the whole room's full of busted shit. It's a scene of a murder.
Full of busted shit for sure. But I was more referring to the unidentified ceramic debris found on the western side of the room.
The hell is that?
Ceramic debris, huh? Must have been from the vase that got tossed.
Okay, even if the vase had signs of damage, it is on the other side of the room, bro. Actually, that's not possible.
Oh?
Because that vase wasn't damaged. It's not possible for that debris to have come from the vase. Because that vase is still pristine.
How is that?
How is that possible? The lady at the garage sale told me it was so old and delicate. Damn it. One time I tried and thrift shop on my own.
Well, so what? What does it even matter?
It means it didn't come from the vase, dipshit!
Vase doesn't. If the vase doesn't have a scratch on it,
Then the debris must have come from somewhere else. That debris is what my client wrote that apology over.
You're saying that confession was his apology for not vacuuming?
I am! Because that pile of rubble is all that remains of the victim's collection of Fidgebob... Fidgetech... What he said. Mr. Flat broke the victim's ceramic figures by accident. And this impassioned note to self was just his attempt at scripting out an apology.
can you prove that?
We're taking this seriously?
As much as I wish we weren't. We're all in agreement that my client wrote that note. And we can all plainly see that there's ceramic debris at the crime scene. Now, since it couldn't have come from the vase, it must have come from the collectibles. Those things! Simple, right?
The hell are you on about? The entire room was trashed, as the arcs clearly showed. Those fidget tubbies must have gotten pulverized during the struggle, too. You were gonna claim he sat down to write an apology for breaking her toys after gunning her down?
Not a bad train of thought, but I can do better. No, those collectibles were destroyed much earlier than that, and there's proof. Not the fucking... the rental! Just take a closer look at the rental you took into custody.
Huh?
One swipe of your finger should show exactly how devastating it was to the fickle buddy ecosystem.
It's fidget tubbies.
Whatever! You did take it into custody. I'm sure your text found ceramic debris on it, yes?
I'll let you mention it.
Fine, whatever. He broke them with his arm. While he was killing her. Happy?
Overjoyed because...
Even a cheap arm's got an operating system that logged the last time it was worn, right?
Also, he was found at the scene with... and it was shoved... Okay, well, that log system is actually more believable than... oh, yeah, it was in the closet. Right.
See, I happened to spot a footnote on the lab report said the rental hadn't been used since the AM.
Whose side are you on, old man?
The truth's side!
It's gotten pretty late, sunshine. Just trying to save us all some time where I can.
And also trying desperately to make us look not stupid. Well, thank you for your service.
Well, thank you for your service! Are you seriously buying this crap? Just look at how scrawled, how panicked the note is. Expect me to believe that he was that upset over a fidget tubby collection? One that hasn't even been graded?
Setting aside Detective Reyes' surprising depth of knowledge when it comes to collectibles. I didn't even know you could grade figures. You're correct. They held no real monetary value. It would be odd for Carlos to be so shaken over their loss. But so what?
So what?
After all, that's not panic you're seeing on that page. No, the only reason that note looks the way it does is because Carlos is right-handed. It's because Carlos is right-handed.
Yeah, I am. Did they not know that? Shouldn't that be on my permanent record or something?
So the reason why that note looks like asylum wall scribbles.
Have you ever tried to write anything down with your non-dominant hand? Is because he had to use his left hand to write it, sorry.
Tend to think better writing than typing. And I need to get used to using my left hand anyway. I just thought it could be good practice. Taking that into account along with the ceramics.
Your slam dunk confession is looking about as watertight as a fishnet.
Okay, fine. Forget about the confession. Congratulations, counselor. You established that your client's remorseless. Now let's get back to the reality of the situation.
Remorseless in murder, but not in destroying tiny, shitty figurines.
Here are the facts.
Where
We
he
found your
lives!
client at the scene of the crime, wearing a coat covered in the victim's blood. Right next to a big old goddamn gun that just so happened to have his fingerprints on it.
That's right, that coat is.
What, you gonna claim it's not his? That he actually wears an extra small?
She's trying to bait me in her typical low-key fashion. She must have something. No sense playing into it. Something you'd like to ask me, Detective?
I'm just curious, what'll it be next? You gonna tell me he actually wears an extra small?
Yeah, there's no... I don't know what this is. I guess I just don't have this information. Gee, Carlos.
I think it'll be later.
Okay. Gee, Carlos, do you?
No?
I also really like the artwork of the justice system with the big heavy guns swirling in the back.
Yeah, sure there's no evil twin you've forgotten to mention?
No, I'm afraid not.
Not even gonna go for a mysterious third party at the scene of the crime?
Oh, she's holding a gun, too. To prove his innocence, I will need to get there eventually. But going there now without hard evidence? Yeah. I have no evidence of a third person at this time.
Damn right you don't. It's clear as day in the Ark. No evidence of anyone but Carlos being in there that night. So keep dreaming.
It was obvious she had something there. I wasn't going to win that hand either way. But at least I didn't overstep and take any more damage than I had to. We're not contesting any of that, Detective. My client freely admits to holding that gun. He picked it up in confusion after coming home to find a brutal crime scene. Which was not smart.
Hey!
But not illegal, either.
And that's all? He had her blood all over his clothes!
Yes, he did.
Right.
Do you have those clothes on hand, by the way?
Lab finished with them a while ago.
What are you getting at?
Gib. It'll be easier to just show you. Would you mind getting them for me?
You know what? Sure. I could use the fresh air. Stinks of bullshit in here anyway.
Here I thought the room smelled like... I can't whisper it! Fuck!
No!
Morgan! What are you doing? My coat's covered in your blood. I remember that much. So doesn't that, like, make me look really bad?
Just relax, Carlos.
Pretty sure that's impossible.
You're innocent. And that means that having more evidence will always help you, not hurt you.
Really? I keep making the detective's voice.
Really? Not really. Plenty of innocent people in prison. People with bad luck. Or bad lawyers. People shouldn't count on the truth to come out easy. More often than not, it takes coaxing. Like taming a wild animal.
What was it that reminded me of?
Alright, here it is. One bloodstained jacket, fresh from the lab.
No other details of forensic significance. No other details! That's actually important. Because it's a classic gun. It's an older gun. It fires with gunpowder. There'd be gunpowder on the jacket.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking earlier.
So what's your angle? You gotta tell us exactly just hot sauce?
No. That would be silly.
She actually thought it over.
So what the hell's your point? Hey.
Sorry. Just got thrown off by the turn of good fortune.
What good fortune?
You should thank the detective for bringing you your jacket, Carlos. She's just proven your innocence. My client was arrested wearing this coat. He would have been wearing it at the time of the murder. It has the victim's blood on it, who we know died when she was shot in the heart. By a gun that happens to be an old-world pre-tagging firearm.
And
So this coat proves he couldn't have been a shooter.
is there a gas leak in here? In what world does that make any sense?
Sense happens to be key here. I just need to draw their attention to what they can.
It'd be smell, I guess.
I saved just in case it's not, even though I'm pretty sure that's correct. Just do me one favor, detective. Tell me what you smell.
I don't smell anything except dried blood.
Exactly. The coat smells like blood, but it doesn't smell of...
Cigarette! That's what I've been smelling!
Yes, Detective London, I was smoking earlier. Could you rejoin the conversation?
I've been listening. Wanted me to smell the jacket?
If you would.
Let's see. Huh? No gunpowder.
What? What about gunpowder?
Oh, don't blame yourself for not noticing. This was before your time.
Can't be more than a few years older than me.
But not before your partners, it seems. See,
Fuck, I'm
gunpowder's...
old.
What?
I said fuck, I'm old.
See, gunpowder's weak by today's standards, but it's still volatile stuff. Hard to store, prone to misfiring. And when it goes bang, it leaves behind an awful lot of evidence.
The hell is she talking about, London?
Modern firearms like the ones we carry use electrical magnetism, even air pressure or sound waves.
Crazy!
They got more accuracy, more firepower, less recoil, less noise.
How do you get more firepower and less recoil?
Fucking science, bitch!
Oh! No recoil because it doesn't explode in order to get out of the gun. That would, yeah. Because it's the hammer activating the gunpowder that propels the bullet forward. So there, with electricity, you wouldn't need that initial...
Hurry up, bitch! And they don't leave behind any residue.
Gunpowder residue.
You talked my ear off about how difficult it is tracking down a gun that doesn't have digital traces. But a revolver like this one, it'd leave gunpowder on the skin of whoever fired it for days.
So then his coat.
If you don't trust your noses, you can check the lab reports. I think if they had found any gunpowder on my client or his clothes, they'd have taken the time to highlight it.
Fucking bitch.
Hey now!
Well, whatever. That just means he washed off after shooting her. Or he changed his clothes.
That is not how gunpowder works! That's not impossible, but it would be pretty pointless. Oh, because they said it themselves. His jacket and his left hand were blood-soaked when your officers found him. Would he really go through all the effort to get rid of something as subtle as gunpowder residue? Just to get the victim's blood all over himself afterwards?
Damn, girl, you're stupid.
In light of these details, I'd like to formally request that you reconsider the charges Mr. Flat is facing as soon as possible.
Whoa.
And they're faltering now. Should topple over at any moment. The letter was mostly icing on the cake for them. But that gun is all they had to link Carlos to any of the shootings. So if it looks like he never actually fired the gun, I'll admit things were a little dicey there at times. But once I was able to grasp the situation, smaller pieces fell into place easily enough. Not my cleanest work by far. Overall, I'd say... Did she get a message?
Wait, did they actually manage to find it?
Something you'd like to share, Detective Reyes?
You're good. Twisting the truth into knots, making the facts work for you.
Thanks.
But your luck just ran out. Because the net scrubbers found a cam active at the exact moment of the shooting, and right now, I'm staring at the photo of the killer.
Wanna bet? A photo of the shooter? If she had that, we wouldn't still be talking. But I doubt she's just pulling this out of her ass. She's got something from the scrubbers. I'm not sure I follow, Detective. Didn't we establish that there was an optics blackout during the shooting?
Sure there was. This isn't from optics. I don't understand.
Good thing I held my tongue. As I thought, the scrubbers must have managed to dig up something from the outside network. Which means...
Party's over, counselor. Feast your eyes on this.
Well. Okay, the quality is lacking. And yet there it is. They managed to find a quarter needle of evidence in a whole city block of haystacks. What are the goddamn chances? No, with the scale their tools operate on, I guess the chances are, as always, in their favor. Alright, this isn't good, but it's a far cry from the worst case scenario I envisioned. You could even say I got lucky, which means the stakes are...
Well,
it's a little bit...
Worry?
don't look at me. I didn't take the damn thing. Technically, no one took it. Looks like at the time of the shooting, a neighbor was on their phone.
Probably venting about how crazy the couple across the way was acting. But if their phone was on, its camera would be on.
And so we managed to get this shot through the window.
Where to begin? Far away, unfocused, ultra-low resolution, zoomed in, blurred, color shifted, and so compressed it looks like it's from another century.
There are tools that could enhance.
Enhance this image any further, and I could count the pixels on one hand. And you could kiss its admissibility in court goodbye. You can't honestly claim that you can identify my client from this image. And there's no way in hell you could get this past a judge.
Yeah, you're probably right, we couldn't. But I think I know a DA that could. Either way, it doesn't seem like your client's leaving the police station anytime soon. That photo! What the hell is happening to me?
I think I know a DA that could. Don't be so modest, old man. We have photo evidence of a left-handed shooter standing in the hallway at the same time the whole neighborhood heard a gunshot.
Are we really gonna fucking say, after that shit-ass fucking scrawl, that he'd be able to hold a gun in his left hand? Bro, he'd have a bruise on his forehead from the recoil.
Literally, all they would have to do is put a gun in his hand and have him shoot. And that would be over and done.
Yeah.
And who do we know that had their left hand fingerprints all over that gun?
Oh, an ad break is starting.
Well, I don't have that much time
Okay.
left. I probably should have stopped 30 minutes ago. So,
Alright.
so we need to keep going.
You're referring to my client.
You think? We've established he wasn't wearing his modded armor at all tonight. So he must have shot with his left.
Yes, and we've also established that he's weak with his left side. Left side that had no gunpowder whatsoever.
Forensics will never be perfect, counselor. Sometimes we miss things. Sometimes you take a walk through the rain, and when you finally get where you were going, you somehow end up dry. That doesn't mean it didn't rain. All of which to say before judge or jury, photographic evidence always failed sniff test.
Carlos is innocent. I know he is. But that photo shows a left-handed shooter. Carlos is innocent. That photo is real. If both are true, then that means that photo doesn't show what it appears to show.
So, at a loss for words.
Oh, the clock's on the wrong side.
Never. Wait, really?
Look at that. Pull up the thing. That's gonna be it. Yeah, it's on the. I think we'll go back to the.
Mirror was
Yeah,
up.
can you? Gonna be that it's a reflected.
Surface. Never! I'm just confused about one thing. Where was this photo taken from exactly?
Exactly. Possession of data is usually only accurate to the nearest public router. We DN on the phone owner and ask them where.
Why bother with any of that? Ballistics and common sense tells us that the perp shot from the room's doorway. For the front entrance of the apartment faces to the south, a hallway that runs back to the bedroom.
It's gonna be something with that clock.
We're looking straight at the shooter, so it's pretty obvious that this was taken from across the north window.
Wait. Is it really gonna be some shit like the clock is square? Because it looks square in this shot. From the
I don't
north.
even see. Just keep going.
If this is from the north, and why can we clearly see that?
It's not that complicated. The neighbor who got the shot must have lived on the other side of the street. So we're looking in the bedroom from the north window.
If she's wrong, I should seize the opportunity to start turning the tide. That's
Do it.
dangerous, but yeah, let me save
What
first.
do you mean? We already know it's the fucking clock! We discussed this!
I'm afraid that's simply not possible, Detective. And this photo has to have been taken from the west.
What kind of bluff is that supposed to be?
The good detectives are misinformed here, and I need to take advantage of it. Time to press the initiative.
The hell do you mean this was taken from the west? The autopsy tells us the victim was shot from the doorway. Your officers are... Oh wait, that's you.
Oh, it's because they have a street viewing apartment, so the doorway is from the street.
Yeah.
So it couldn't have been somebody from across the street. Yeah. Your officer's ARC's data tells us the precise location of everything in the room at the time they arrived. And now your photo has shown us the exact moment of the shooting.
And?
And altogether, that tells us that this photo must have been taken through the west window. As long as you consider...
It's the drawing.
Just take one look at the clock and that photo!
Clock? What about it?
The-
The clock, huh?
Seems like London's got an idea. If he's mistaken, I could pounce on it to keep my tempo high.
This photo was taken right before the shooting, so... Wait, don't tell me the time of death is wrong!
Right? It's not the time of death.
That's a good question, Detective London.
It's
But the answer's no! The autopsy, the clock, and the neighbors all agree the time of death was at 9 p.m.
Right, no mistake in that.
So it's the reflection.
Yeah.
So then, what the hell were you on about?
There's a clock on the wall in this photo, analog style. And it reads 9 o'clock.
9 p.m., the time of the shooting. The hell's so special about that?
Nothing. There's nothing odd about the time the clock reads, but... Do you remember there being a clock in the room?
What?
Actually, I don't recall there being a clock.
That makes sense. You wouldn't recall seeing a clock. Because when the police secured the scene, the clock had already been knocked onto the floor.
And?
The only clock in that room is in the northeastern corner. And my client has informed me that before the crime, it was hung up on the eastern wall. Like so, in this really great drawing that I have made.
What the hell is that supposed to be?
An artistic rendition.
Sound very distinct.
You had information on how the crime scene was before the shooting. Why didn't you just add that to the arcs?
And show you my hand? Just because discovery law compels us to share info, doesn't mean we have to play fair detective. Slipped my mind. I'll do that now. The important thing is, if that clock was on the eastern wall before the shooting occurred,
And this photo must be looking through the western window to see it?
oh yeah! So they fired with their, it would be that they fired with their right arm and the picture got a photo of the mirror, which would have flipped it.
That's what I said!
Yeah.
Don't start getting ahead of yourself. Victim was shot at 9 p.m. Same time that this photo was taken on of the shooter. You want to claim that the clock's still on the eastern wall when it would have been knocked down during the fighting?
You've got your logic backwards, Detective. Your precious photo shows that the room was pristine at the time of the shooting. And there's one other piece of evidence that proves exactly how the cards fell. It is the mirror, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna save just in case. Please grab the glass.
Glass shards, what about them?
Nothing much, really. Only that they're on top of the victim's body. And not under it.
Glass fell on top of the victim's body, that would mean...
that she was dead on the ground before the room got trashed.
But that doesn't make any sense. Why would anyone trash the room afterward?
It's a good question, Carlos. Luckily, it's the detectives who have to delve into the minds of the criminally insane, not us. Tell me, detectives, were there any signs of a struggle at the other crime scenes?
Other crime scenes? No, nothing. Like, I don't know where that voice came from.
Those attacks would have been over in a matter of seconds.
So what did you think when you saw the mess in the bedroom?
That this was personal. That things had got complicated. Shit happens.
Shit does happen, Detective. But in this case, it seems there's been a general misconception about the order in which shit happened.
So what if the room didn't get tossed until afterwards? He still shot her. We have a photo right here.
And I'm glad you do, Detective, because that photo proves my client's innocence.
Ah?
Proving that it wasn't my client who pulled the trigger is difficult, and maybe more importantly for all of us, time-consuming. But thanks to your photo, I can instead prove that it couldn't have been my client who pulled the trigger, because the man in that photo can't possibly be Carlos.
Like hell it can't.
The glass shards prove that the room was pristine at the time of the shooting. And we know that until the room was tossed, that clock was on the eastern wall. Which means that this photo of the shooter was taken from the west. Back to this
Back to this shit? That's impossible. The only hallway in that apartment runs from north to south. The only person with prints on the gun is your client. The only fact that matters is that he used it to murder 6 innocent people.
You're a very honest person, Detective.
Excuse me?
That's why you're such a shitty gambler. You played your cards too early, and now I can steal the pot right out from underneath you. You're right about the hallway's orientation. You're right about the prints. And this HK figure has claimed 6 lives. But we aren't looking at the hallway in that photo.
What?
What we're seeing is...
The mirror. What is that? You trying to say the glass shards again?
Sort of. By the way, do you recall where those glass shards came from?
Yeah, sure, they came from a...
From a standing mirror. A mirror that at the time of the shooting stood across the room from the western window.
But then that would mean...
At that angle from that viewpoint.
It would reflect the hallway. So we're not seeing a shooter with a gun in their left hand. We're seeing a killer take aim with their right arm. And, as we all know, my client hasn't had a working right arm in a number of weeks. And he hasn't worn his rental since this morning. So I meant what I said about that photo. I'm glad that it was recovered, because it just proved that my client couldn't possibly have committed this crime. That should be the end of it. Except except it looks like Detective Reyes really is a novice gambler. Sunk cost has got its teeth in her now, clawing up her spine, whispering wounded pride in her ear. It's a cold sweat, hot palms kind of fever. The impotent, irrational fury of losing something you thought was guaranteed yours. But lucky for you, Detective, I'm well-versed in shock therapy. You look dissatisfied, Detective Reyes.
That's one word for it.
Then allow me to put a nice bow on everything for you. In summary, my client's so-called confession was just a note to self. The police found him in shock, reeling at the death of his girlfriend, and arrested him for being next to a gun he forensically couldn't have fired. After being confronted with these facts, you received photographic evidence of the exact moment of the shooting. And instead of utilizing said photo to track down the real killer, you tried to claim it depicted my client. A man without the requisite limb, standing in an architecturally impossible hallway.
He could have had a backup arm. He could have stolen one.
A little stubbornness can be charming, but this kind of desperation is ugly. It's getting late. Time to bare my fangs. A bit. That's the best you've got? Even a bare-bones prosthetic off the black market needs to be attuned to an individual's nervous system. He'd have to bring it to a clinic, which would have been left a record on his shoulder OS. A record you won't find. And he'll still have to prove somehow, and he'd still have to somehow have gotten rid of it before the police arrive. SOP at the scene of a violent crime calls for full-spectrum scanning of the entire building and 100 meters around it minimum. So where Detective Reyes? Did he manage to hide a cybernetic arm from your drones in the time between the shooting and his arrest? Well... Any objections? Detective.
God. Damn. It! I think we'll have to stop there, though. Because I need to go.
Yeah, we went way past 9. Oh! I feel like we're really close to the end of episode 0, but how do you feel so far?
Good. I like it, but I really need to go.
Okay. Well, I'll leave a save, and if it's really close... Well, no, yeah, I'll just leave a save. This was fun, though. I would definitely, like to play episode 1 if it maintains the same energy as episode 0, because this was actually quite meaty for what is a free demo. I got this. Episode 0 is free, by the way.
I'm not even...
Yes, go eep, and I'll wrap up on my end.
Alright.
Yee. Goodbye, Fisk. Alrighty. So I'll stop all this, close out Discord. I vanish, but that's, that's okay. Let me hide away Fisk's PNG. Yeah, where is it? There it is, quit. This game was really cool. Very entertaining. It's another detective one. And the last one that we had was, unfortunately kind of really boring. Chicken Place was not that great of a starter. It was very, very slow. Maybe it picks up later, I don't know. But this one didn't pull its punches. We immediately got into the meat and potatoes of the game. The character designs look cool. I like the art. I like the writing as well. I like the setting. It's very interesting. And yeah, while we didn't finish episode 0, because we started a little late, had to make dinner first, and Fisk can't stay up any later. Just gotta get up in the morning to go to work and stuff. This was really fun, and we will definitely be doing more of this based on Fisk's availability. And I'll probably wind up getting episode 1 because it was quite entertaining. But for now, goodbye, YouTube. It was fun.